Right, let's add some finishing touches. So, I'm going to be using my light purple. So down here on the riverbank, we've actually got, here still very dark, what we actually have in the painting is some light purple, nice broken line, working into the base of the tree, and some purple in that riverbank, just taking out the real dark blue, patches of purple, a little bit in the water. And here on the tree trunk, we also have little bits of purple blending with the blue. And on reflection number 2, little inflections of purple in and around the riverbank, base of the tree. Up to that cluster of ears. A little bit there on tree number 3. Little hints of purple in there. And again, across the reflection. Some tiny bits on the reflection of tree number 4 in the middle. A few in the shadow on the bushes. Okay, we can also use our purple here in our foliage clusters. A few hints of purple in here. Both sides of that branch. Just a few scatterings in the canopy. So where we have our clustered shadows, that foliage that sticks out beyond the main canopy, we can have a few hints of purple in there. Okay, I'm going to take my number 2 yellow orange right here in the corner, just building up and some highlights there. Some little clusters in this D shape and in the gap between tree 1 and tree 2. Again, we have some up here, we've got to have some down here. Sideways strikes, nice and confident. And a little bit in the next panel. If we've got them above, we've got to have them below. Okay. And again, in the top, some little clusters of this yellow orange. Okay. I am going to just bring in some highlights in the bottom section. So I'm going to use my white, nice clean bit of white oil pastel. Okay, now I want some sideways inflections in these areas, blending the colours that I've got reflected top and bottom. Just catching a bit of extra light. And I can use them to highlight some of those reflections, or the hinted at reflections. And the same in the canopy. So in these areas I have some particularly light patches, little clusters. Okay, a few little highlights in there, just where it's catching the sun. Okay, now I'm going to go with a slightly darker blue. So this is number 54, Prussian Blue Light. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so all I'm going to do with this slightly darker blue is now just beef up some areas of my foliage, the ears on the trees and the tree trunk itself. So where the tree trunk and the ears begin, I'm going to have them slightly darker, just to bring them forward. And again, nice broken pattern. And foliage and shadow. My hinted branches. Just following that original line. Okay, and same again. Tree number 2. Just a little bit heavier, a little bit darker and more intense. foliage. Nice broken cluster. Crisscross of some branches. There we go. And tree number 3, just beefing it up. Just beefing up that bush shadow. We got a tiny bit on that side too. Following my branch hints. So just a little more intense. Sideways horizontals on the reflections. Okay, right. So the very last things we're going to do, you're going to have some very nice bright pink for the canopy. So this is going to be number 15 pink. So again, throughout this area here, I'm going to have some clusters. So I'm looking at the original where I can see some nice bright pink. I'm putting in a little cluster of pink inflections. Just a few through those shadows, foliage shadows. Just to give them some extra depth. Okay, especially up here where I've got a few naughty bits of light paper still hanging out. Hang it on. Okay, so that's all right for the foliage. Everything else looking okay. We'll have a bit of pink down in these sections here to beef them up a little and a little bit more interesting. And of course we had some in there, so we'll have to have some down here. Okay, all right, very last thing I'm going to do. I'm going to take pale blue, sky blue, whichever the palest one is you've got. Okay, so what I'm looking at are the gaps in between the branches, the leaves, and these bits of shadow. So I'm looking to put some inflections in and around the shadows. Bringing them to life. I'm looking into my canopy, looking for patches of blue. So for example, here I've got this suggested branch. So on either side of the branch, I can have some extra blue. And what it'll do is just bring the branch out. Same up here. Following my branches. And just want to re-establish that fork in the tree. So put some extra light blue in here and here and here. Just taking the sky blue up and into the foliage shadows. Looking for my branch suggestions. I'm just working alongside them. So I end up with some intense blue sky that I can see in between my branches and my foliage. Just taking down any really dark bits. Coming the other way from the top. Coming in from the sky into the canopy. Looking at those blue patches alongside my branches. It's another opportunity to just make sure that my trees are, or the tree trunks rather, are as thin as I want them to be. And just give them a little bit of extra shape. Maybe over to the last two trees. Up from the bottom. Should do it. Just down here, let's separate these branches again with some super light blue. Okay, now we're going to work that light blue this foliage set here. Top and bottom, and some clusters within the foliage. So we end up with a nice set of clusters of yellow that we can see through. Intensity. Some of the areas down here, sideways, flat, horizontal strokes. Okay. All right, last bit. White. So we brought that blue in. I'm just going to work a few little areas of highlight. Let's just tap off. Okay. How's that looking? Yeah. So using that white, again, I just want a few hints of reflection in the canopy, or at least some foliage just catching a little bit of extra light. So I'm looking at the original, looking for any patches of highlight down. To help with this, if you squint at the picture, it should reduce it to a tone map, so you'll be able to see where you've got some lights working away. We might add a little bit of pale green to this canopy. I'm just using my white again, just to knock out any really dark bits that I don't want. Liberal scattering. Okay, I'll have a few greens. Just while I've got the white, anywhere else. Just clean that off. I'm just working on the sky, where I've got quite a lot of crumbs, a bit of discoloration. I'm just knocking those out. And a little bit lighter at the bottom. Okay. What else can we do? Okay, right. I think the very last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use my orange to just bring out some of the trunk and branches. So I have that fork. Just want to pronounce it a tiny bit more. Okay. Just adding a little bit more life to these tree trunks. There we go. And that is Poplars on the Epte 1891.